For the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the pop culturist PlayStation podcast with over 50 years of playing PlayStation and like 15 years in their games we combined and 399 episodes up our sleeves. I forget the next part. Something about a PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us and see amazing intros just like this one, come and check out our socials. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, X. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens and also hear some fuck-ups live on the air, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures where you can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. Excuse me. Ritalin, that'll help. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are listening to us on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you watch us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, comment below. I endeavour to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopcultures, as well as our merchandise store, which I need to update and I've not done anything with. Max! How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad.
Apparently them school holidays, day one, already giving you grief?
Yeah, well, you know, having 2 kids at home all day is
A lot.
rough. A lot. Yeah, my wife does not have any time off work, so it's just me. So like this morning, Hadley came in, she's like, "Dad, Holly's awake." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, I can hear him on the baby monitor, but your mum hasn't left for work yet, so I don't want to get him up because he's gonna get upset when Mum leaves."
Yeah.
So like, okay, that makes sense. So then Ali leaves like 5 minutes later. I get him up. Hadley comes sauntering out of her bedroom like an hour and a half later. Did you get him up? Yes. Good, because I want to go out. Where do you want to go, Hadley? We're going to the pool. No, we're fucking not.
No, it's
I'm not
cold as
taking
fuck.
I'm not taking both of you to the pool. You'll want to go in one pool and Ollie can't go in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not happening.
And it's also like 14 degrees today.
Fine, I'm going to go watch the iPad again. Fucking whatever.
I love it how she's like, 5 going on 15. It's
day one of school holidays. She's already demanding shit. It's like, motherfucker.
What about Ollie though? How's his school holidays like?
Yeah, he's fun.
Yeah, he's
living his best life. Yeah. He fucking clocked his sister in the back of the head with a fucking window squeegee this morning. Oh, like full on just went fucking bam.
Like, just was he frustrated or just cause? Just chaos child.
Yeah, chaos child.
Nice.
He's hitting his terrible twos early.
Excellent. Well, yeah. See, I like back in the day, back in my old employers, I used to have school holidays off, or at least some of the school holidays off. Even though now I work in schools, I don't have holidays off. So normally I'd have like my son for a week, and it'd be awesome. It's cool, but yeah, sadly not so much this week. This new job, I probably could if I applied for the leave, I probably could get it, but. Yeah, so I'm not going to have the same school holidays experience as you, and I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing for me.
You lucky son of a bitch.
Saying that,
don't get me wrong.
I would have him over in an instant.
Don't get me wrong. I love my children, but fuck me.
Very nice. Very double noise.
Ooh, a big thank you to Craig, the Mullet Show, Crazy88, reporting for duty. That's 88 months as a tier 1. Wait, it's 47 months at tier 1, 88 in total. That's a long-ass time.
I heard an interesting story about Craig last night.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right. What goss you got about the Craig?
Apparently he was licking Selena Gomez's cream filling.
Yeah, it checks out. Yeah. It doesn't surprise me at all. But yeah, look... outside of that, this week, 100%, he says in the chat, no doubt. Yeah, outside of that, like in the last week, not much has gone down for me personally, like that I can recall. Anything happen? I don't know. I think I spoke to you like twice. Did I tell you anything? No, I don't think so. No, it's just living life, right? 399 episodes into this bitch and just hanging about. Unsure what to talk about at the start because I took my Ritalin too late and now my brain's all scattered. I'm trying to bring it back together so the show can be somewhat coherent.
Well, let's get into it. What have you been playing this week?
Hey, I gotta write a fucking timestamp for that bitch, don't I?
Fuck you and your timestamps.
All right, cool. Well, obviously, this will come at a later date. However, we both have been fucking about more with Death Stranding. You have finished it. I have not. But what's really impressive is...
This sounds like fucking Last of Us Part 2 all over again.
Look, my life, I had full envisioned plans and structure to really send it. However, I made what I believe to be the right choice, but also at the same time, the inconvenient choice, for lack of a better term, of playing it with Phoebe, my partner. I'm enjoying playing it with her because she had such a good time, with what we played at the first, and then when we watched the big hour and a half recap, she's like, this story fucks. I'm like, it fucks indeed. And I'm still really enjoying it from the Australian side, but it does mean I can't just go and pick up and play it. That she has to be there. Now, granted, she has been very kind and be like, you mess with it. I'm sure you're just going to pick up lost packages for 2 hours. So if any major story beats happen, let me know. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I proceed to pick up lost packages for 2 hours, literally. So right now I'm at 13 hours. I'm about halfway up, if not 3/4 up the way of WA. I keep running back between the government base and Oz and the lone gunman man and the musician. Because I did make the decision as well that if I am playing this game, I'm going to play it enjoyably. I don't want to fucking rush it. I don't want to ruin it. So I am kind of picking stuff up on the way. Saying that though, I then have had to make that tough choice, and it does hurt me internally to be like, you know what? I'm going to leave that package. I'm not going to pick it up. I'm going to keep going. Because I am genuinely impressed by the tools, the equipment, the accessories that I get for completing, for completing these bases, these locations, as I proceed to get them into up their star rating. The more stars you get, the more cool shit you get. I've got cool robo legs now. I've got a shotgun, got a bunch of cool shit, all from just helping the folk. Because I imagine that'll be helpful later.
Are you aware that inside the corpus, the game's inbuilt database, you can see what those rewards are going to be before you get them, so you can choose whether or not they are worth your time?
I fucking know! That would make my life so much easier!
There is a reason why I haven't 5-starred all of them, because some of them look garbage. I literally cherry picked what I thought was going to be good and useful, and went, I'm gonna focus on unlocking these. Like, for instance, the lone gunman gives you a sniper. At level 5, he gives you a silenced version of it. That I found useful, so I did that.
I'm gonna stop avoiding him.
And then I moved on.
That information does help a lot. And when you do boot up your save, it does show you the corpus, so it's not as if they hit it. I just go, ugh, and skip it. I'm like, reading, get out of here. So maybe reading would have been pretty helpful, I suppose. But yeah, doing that, I am aware that at some point down the line, there's an animal sanctuary. So all these little animals I see, I'm like, ooh, I can't save you yet, but I'm going to save you later, and I cannot wait. But look, I'm still enjoying it. It's fucking fantastic. Now, we will have a full-blown spoiler discussion probably in 3 years when I finish it. But Max, you have rolled credits without going too deep or touching upon things how was it as a complete experience? Better than the first one?
Yeah.
Which is insane because you
really
fucking adored the first one.
I thought it was really good. Look, I wouldn't say it's miles better. It's just as good. They are very close. Yeah, it was just in the same fashion as Death Stranding 1. Basically, I had a look to see how many main deliveries you have to do.
How many?
And it was 46 or 47. Okay. I was on delivery 45. I'm like, okay, I'm in the fucking end zone. It's 10 o'clock at night. Let's do it. I'll push for it. These deliveries have been taking me on average between 20 to 40 minutes. A little bit of little bit of cutscene. I'll be done in 3 hours. No problem. 1 o'clock in the morning. Next minute, it's like 3 a.m. Still in the final cutscene.
Oh man, does it have a big final ending cutscene again? Like I still remember playing Metal Gear Solid 4, and the final cutscene of that game is like 2 hours long. It's like a whole fucking movie, and it was awesome. Don't get me wrong, it was fucking fantastic, but it's a long sit. You're like, oh god, I'm done. This is incredible. Oh, it's still going. That's a shame.
That's good.
Yeah. One of the things, like, I heading into the discussion last week, excuse me while I cough, there was something I wanted to discuss, and then I completely forgot about it until afterwards. And the second we left the Discord call, my brain went, hey, I'm like, damn it. Which was, I believe that this game, Death Stranding 2 specifically, is a larger... I think it's what Kojima wanted Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain to be. Because the similarities between those two titles is so massive. Like, it's incredible, like, how similar they are. Like, Metal Gear Solid 5, for those that may not have played it, you kind of have a big open world to fuck around in, and you can handle it however you like. You can be super stealthy, you can be super, like, just go in and shoot folks. And I think in Death Stranding 2, with a lot of the improved combat systems that we saw from the director's cut into now, like, combat's really fun. So if you do go into a base and you can choose to stealth your way through it, or you can just fuck shit up. Or you go in stealthy until you can't, and then you ruin everybody with your MP guns or whatever. I actively avoided combat in the first game. I am so keen to shoot people in this one. I don't know what it is. It just feels better. It feels tighter. Like, if I have to trek through a base, I'm like, okay. But then knowing that they'll be unconscious for like a good window of time, I just leave their bodies there and let them get stuck in timefall and shit, because screw them. But yeah, knowing that I could then just trek through it again and they're not going to immediately be back, I'm like, oh, brilliant. Because I'm also like building roads and stuff, and some of the roads just nicely go through mule territory, just for funsies. I think I'm spending, yeah, because I said you've put, what was your final time count?
27 hours.
Yeah, I'm on 13, and I'm in like chapter 3.
I've also built the entire monorail around the country.
Yeah, so
like,
it's interesting that
it's not like I speed ran shit.
Well,
like, I still,
yeah. Like, I know you didn't, but I remember getting like 40, 50 hours into the first. Like, that's such a substantial difference.
Because when you get near the end, they're like, you have to do the same thing like you did in the first one. They're like, hey, the package you need to deliver is all the way back at the fucking start, and you need to take it all the way to the end in one go. They're like, here's 3 routes that we think you should take. There's the one that's the most direct, but it's fucked because you got to go through all the different environments. You could go the safer way, and it's the longest way. You can go all the way around, or you can go like, you could do a little bit of fighting. It's relatively safe though, and it's like the medium way. I'm like, or I could just put all this shit on the monorail and monorail to the closest one, and then jump in a car and fucking do it.
Is that what you did?
That's exactly what I did.
And how long did that take compared to what you expected to take?
Well, because when you do your plan tracking, it tells you how long it's going to take. So it was like 45 minutes to walk. It was like 25 minutes by car. It was a 5-minute monorail ride. Because you get to stand on the front of the because you get to stand on the front of the monorail. You get to see it like it cuts, like it doesn't cutscene it because you can jump off at any time you want to. I was just, enjoying the surroundings. Now, granted, I haven't linked up every single thing to the node.
Yeah, I'm linking up most things.
It is not required. So that there are certain spots that I haven't been to. Like, I didn't go talk to the inventor in the first area. Like, he just whatever.
What, in Mexico or in Australia?
In Australia, I linked up all of Mexico.
I haven't seen him yet. Yeah, because I'm a musician, and then F1, and then I'm whatever's after that.
Have you linked up the first mine?
I think so.
He's just around the corner from that on an island in the middle of the water.
Oh, then no, I haven't seen him.
I only found him because there's a build point for the monorail system there.
Okay, well, guess I'll go have a wander and see if I can find this dude on his little.
And then I walked over there, and they're like, "You don't have any packages for here. Go away." And I'm like, "Oh,
look at me! I don't have any packages."
And then I just forgot about him. I was like, "Fuck you, then."
Oh well, I'll keep an eye out for some inventor parcels. But yeah, like I obviously don't want to say too much more because I am enjoying it, and I don't want to do spoilers. I don't want you to do spoilers, but
like monorail the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a blast. Yeah, it's definitely a wild ride.
So if we were to sit here and look at what you've played so far, because now granted, I did go and have a look, because on the whiteboard to my right, I have our a Metacritic draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got 4 done. I've got 4 done. So, but I haven't put Death Stranding on there because I'm knowing that like the Metacritic's gonna keep going. Excuse me, but yeah, it's looking pretty complete. It's looking pretty well. But for yourself, where does this sit in your Game of the Year conversation? Because Expedition 33 was going to be up there. Split Fiction was going to be up there. Is Death Stranding in that conversation?
It's gonna be a 3-way tie. I think it's gonna be really hard to. Although it's also like school holidays at the moment. And there's a new fucking Tony Hawk's Pro Skater going out.
Oh yeah, in like days.
15-year-old me is like just fucking pumped.
Oh, I'm fucking keen.
Like,
Look, we often talk about how lucky we are and that we don't often have to buy games. I'm probably going to buy Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 for it.
that's what I said to Ali last night. I'm like, because I pulled out my copy of Final Fantasy IX now that EB take trade-ins on like old, like vintage stuff.
Wait, really? Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. But they don't have it listed on their website. For some reason, you can't search for PS1 titles. So I'm like, I'm going to trade this in and hopefully get a fair chunk of Tony Hawk's reduced because I'm going to buy Tony Hawk's because we're, going to do it. And then I rang them this morning. They're like, "Oh, it's sitting at $3.75." I'm like, "You can fuck
Get
right
the
off.
fuck out."
It's selling on eBay for like $120.
That is disgusting.
You can take your $3.75 and shove it.
Wow. Less than $5 for Final Fantasy IX.
Yep.
Like I know Paul James loves it.
A remake.
And
that's why it's not getting a remake, because EB Games deems it less than $5.
I can assure you that EB Games would sell that thing for like $100.
Oh yeah.
Big Shep in the chat says fuck that, and I couldn't agree more. That is dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb amount of pricing. But yeah, that's enough about Death Stranding. What else have you played this week, Max? Anything else you've
Okay, so I didn't talk about it last week, but I have now beaten all of the fucking bosses in Elden Ring Nightreign. It only took me since launch to fucking beat the Libra boss. It's the most piece of shit Dark Souls boss I've ever had to deal with across, in my opinion, across all of like the Souls genre, the Souls milieu of games. They over the last 3 weeks they have introduced essentially what's the actual term for them? They're essentially like super bosses. So they're revamped versions of. Sorry, I can hear my daughter in the background fucking screaming because she's losing at Mario Kart.
I heard it too. It came through the noise gate.
They're called the Everdark Sovereign. So they're essentially souped up versions of the bosses that you've already beaten. You can only take them on if you've beaten their base versions. Essentially what they do is they start in their second phase. They start the fight in their second phase, and then they have a brand new third phase to make it a bit more gimmicky. So the one for this week was the Sentient Pest, which is the Jewel boss.
My nickname in high school.
The Jewel boss. Essentially, they just add a third boss in that resurrects the other two every time they die.
Oh, that's fucking helpful.
It wasn't actually too bad. I beat it first try.
Oh,
Just kiss. As a melee character too, it was fucking terrible. Luckily, I had one ranged person on my team. This game is still great, but if you get fucking shit teammates, it does ruin the experience a little bit.
Yeah, I imagine, because I remember you saying, like, yeah, none of your mates are playing it. You are exclusively having to play with randos.
Just playing with randos. So we're at a time where one of the new upgrade systems. So when they released these bosses, they brought in a new in-game shop because you get special currency for taking on these bosses and winning. So one of the upgrades that you can buy from here is a relic that gives you, it just boosts your damage per Everjail you complete. So now that everyone's running those, you kind of just hit all those and don't worry about anything else on the map. You just go collect as many keys as you can to unlock these jails, kill the mini bosses, and then by the end of it, you can pick up, on average, I normally get 7 to 9 bosses. It's a 5% damage bump for each one that you kill. So at the end, you're sitting at like 30-40% bonus damage just from taking on a few bosses. They all give great souls, so you're sitting at level 15, which is the level cap by the time you get to night 3. And it makes the bosses a lot easier to deal with, which is nice.
Awesome.
But yeah, still having a blast with that. I'm playing a couple of runs daily. It's my go-to game when Ollie goes to bed for his nap during the day. I'll knock out a Nightreign run. Other than that, I have also started because apparently I have all the time in the world, a new playthrough of Baldurs Gate 3.
God damn it.
Some of my friends finally purchased it. They're like, when it goes on sale, we'll buy it. And I went on sale, so they bought it, and they're like, hey, we started playing. Were you keen on joining in? I'm like, look, I'll make a character, and I'll kind of just jump in as I can. Like, they're on now. They're messaging me like, hey, can you jump on? I'm like, no, I'm busy. Just run my character. It's fine. You can't fuck it up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you need me to play? Because I've played pretty much every character conceivable in Baldur's Gate 3. And they're like, hey, we kind of need a frontline, like a frontline tank. Like, okay, well, what's everyone playing? They're like, well, I'm playing a druid. The other guy's playing a sorc, and they've got a cleric. I'm like, okay, I'll be a paladin. Paladins are fucking boring. Oh my god, I hate it. So I spent my night at work last night build crafting a new character, and I am going to make what I've dubbed the Bard Lockerdin. So I'm going to make a Bard Warlock Paladin hybrid.
Okay.
I'm going to go Pact of the Blade Warlock. So I'll have great ranged attacks with Eldritch Blast. Because I'm Pact of the Blade, I get to use my Charisma modifier for melee attacks instead of Strength.
Cool.
Which is beautiful because Warlock spells Charisma based, Paladin spells Charisma based. Beautiful.
This is your specialty. Your special skill set is the ability to min-max characters. Like, absolutely. Like, the way you can tackle a character sheet astounds me. I could never do it.
Because I've taken levels in Warlock, it means I get Warlock spell slots, which means I get them back on short rests instead of long rests, which allows me to do my Paladin smites more often because I can just fucking be loose with them because it's just a short rest to get them back. And I'm going to pick the College of Sword Bard, so I still have the tankiness because I can do all the flourishes to give myself bonus AC as a melee fighter. And I'll just take like Warcaster so I can cast spells at melee range and not have disadvantage and all that bullshit. It's going to be chef's kiss.
Genuinely insane how you put that together. We played Baldur's Gate for a little while and I enjoyed it, and then I got distracted and sort of wandered off because the game requires a lot of thought process at the time. And 9 times out of 10 when I'm playing games, I don't have that.
So because I've played it so many times before, I'm just letting them do all the encounter. I'm like, I'm just here to help you win fights. Like, I'm not going to tell you any story beats. You can pick all the things. So last night they were having particular trouble getting through one of the encounters. They were a level below all the mobs. We tried it 3 times, quick save, quick load, and they're like, we're struggling. Do you have any ideas? I'm like, okay, just give me a second before you start the encounter. I'm going to go back to camp and grab some supplies. They're like, what supplies are you going to grab that could possibly help us? I'm like, okay, you clearly haven't gone through my stash when I'm not playing with you guys. And they're like, no, it's your stash. Like, we're not gonna fuck with it. And I proceed to pull out 20 casks of oil and fire barrels, and just strategically place them around where all the enemies are going to spawn. I'm like, as soon as the fight starts, just fucking fireball in there. We'll be right. We'll just instantly win. It's fine, don't stress.
Is that exactly what happened?
Yeah, and then someone's PC crashed.
There's too much explosions in there. The game shit itself.
They're like, why? And I'm like, because sometimes you just need to blow shit up.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something about like playing a TRPG or something like this where you feel compelled to like outsmart the game when you could just brute force it.
Yeah. Well, see, the original plan was I was going to go full, like, I was going to do like a paladin barbarian and just max out my strength so I could just throw everyone. But they refused to cast enlarge on me, so I can't get the bonus strength to pick up human-sized characters. So I'm like, well, this is not fun for me. If I can't throw everyone, what's the point?
Yeah.
Because one of my friends is playing a gnome, so I can pick him up and throw him across gaps. I'm like, oh, we need you over there. So I just yeet him across. I was like, go over there.
Very nice.
But I've missed playing this game. It is so much fun. Like, even just playing it passively and not like contributing to like their player choice, taking away, just being in there and you know, theory crafting my build and, you know, giving them tips on like, hey, please don't take that. It sounds cool on paper. It's going to be useless for what you're trying to do. Like, please don't. Because they're not D&D players, so they don't have that. They don't have that background knowledge. They kind of go like, "Oh, this looks cool." I'm like, "Yes, but it's not." Like, trust me,
it's confidently, it's not.
Yeah. And one of them is playing the Dark Urge, which I think is a ballsy move. Because you
what's the Dark Urge for those playing at home?
The Dark Urge is it's essentially like the most evil player character you can be, and you essentially just kill off all the NPC party members that you can have, and it does spoil some things that you can experience because all the NPCs in your camp just die, so you miss out on a lot of their stories.
Yeah,
and
that'd be boring. Because in the short time that I played, the NPCs that can join your party are like super interesting and intriguing. Like, why would you?
So when I joined, they're all dead in there. I'm like, someone's playing there.
Oh,
someone's
lame.
Because I've had that run before, and it is good fun. But yeah, it's just...
I just have trouble playing a bad guy. I don't think I could do it. If I'm being honest. I'm not an angry person. But one thing I have been playing this week, Max, is the little segue that I did by myself there. I quite like it. Very nice segue. Angerfoot. So big thank you to the team over at Devolver Digital. We were provided a review code on the PlayStation for a game called Angerfoot. I would have talked about it last week if I could. However, the game did drop over the week. So this is a game that Max and I... Excuse me while I cough very loudly. Sorry about that. Max, particularly. However, as I was saying, so this is a game that Max and I played originally at PAX 2023. So the
was 2 years ago.
Yeah, so the Devolver Digital booth, they had one side, they had Angerfoot. On the other side, they had Gunbrella. So Angerfoot's premise is you are the character, Angerfoot. You are in this world, in this place called Shit City, literally its name. There are 4 rival gangs, and they are all kind of Garbo, right? Like, not as in Garbo as in characters, but as in they are designed to be that way. The one is called the Violence Gang, then there is the Pollution Gang, and so on and so on. They're all kind of have different impacts on Shit City. This game is very similar to Hotline Miami in a lot of ways, but it is first person. It is really built on the kicking mechanic that you would have seen in Bulletstorm back in the day on PS3. The time to kill is really fast, like 1 or 2 shots and you're down, or 1 or 2 shots and they're down. So there's a good equality in that stance. The levels are quick. You can get them done in about a minute and a bit. There are many, like each level has a 3-star rating, 1 for just finishing it. The 2nd star is an additional challenge. 3rd star is an additional challenge. And these challenges can be kill at least 10 people with headshots. Finish the entire level just by kicking folk, like no guns. Do one without jumping, which I haven't worked out yet because right now that level is jumping between buildings. So I imagine later on I'll have some sort of upgrade that allows me to jump those gaps without jumping. Because one of the things you can do is the whole focus of the game is to bring back your stolen sneakers. Because apparently each sneaker gives you a buff in some capacity. Some will give the enemies a larger head. Some will make doors explode when you kick them. Some will I'll give you more ammo every time you take somebody out. Bunch of different things at play. I really, really enjoy this game like a lot. Mostly because it is ADHD stimulus like a motherfucker, like crazy. It is fast paced. It is like you are very similar to say Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Like you shouldn't stop moving. You are just rapidly ripping your way through it. Once again, very similar to Hotline Miami. However, the entire time there is just hard style music in the background. For those that don't know, hard style music is very intense, high BPM, bass focused dance music. So it's that do 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 do. So that's all you hear and feel. There's a little bit of fluff around the steady bass line, but it is just it's that consistent. So it just kind of keeps you moving forward. So I spent a bit of time on the weekend playing it with my son, which was great because he's a little ADHD boy too. King and I were having a blast. Loud, obnoxious noises, big win. We're loving it. The speed of the game, fantastic. It's just ripping it up. Phoebe, however, not an ADHD individual, someone who is very overstimulated by loud noises and loud, consistent noises, was like, fuck this, and then proceeded to be in anywhere else in the house. And we did turn it down, and we only had it very low so we can hear sort of any sound cues, but it's hard to hear sound cues when you're just absolutely blasting dance music in your ear holes. So each, as it stands so far, there are the 4 areas, or at least that I could assume, because each area connected to the various gangs. But if I now think about the shoe page, I think there might be 5. So I've cleared through the first world of Shit City with the violence gang. It did end in a pretty interesting boss fight, and that was fun. But yeah, it is each level's just go in, rip through it, get the next one, rip through it, next one, excellent. I am, as I said a moment ago, thoroughly enjoying it, really, really having a good time. It is very much as you mentioned, Nightreign is that game that you're jumping into at the moment, just when you got a little bit of time to kill, just kind of see where it takes you. For the time, 2-ish weeks we've had Angerfoot now, it is that kind, if I've got a couple of minutes, I'll give it a round. Like I did today, I came home from work before dinner, did a couple levels, but yep, cool, easy done. And then went had dinner. I had dinner while I was playing, and then played Death Stranding until we came in here to record. So now, Max, have you jumped onto the Angerfoots? Will you be jumping onto the Angerfoots?
I'll jump onto it, but I haven't yet.
Actually, see, this is where it's really handy, by the way, just one side thought. So I get a message from Phoebe, which I didn't see. She brings up a very, very good point. She goes, you love to blame me for not playing games. Well, look, it does make an impact because there's a lot of times where I'm like, I could play this, but then I choose not to because I've chosen to play it with her. But she goes, did you forget that we had Jack? I had a mate over who I hadn't seen in years. And then we had Paris and Craig come over, and then James over the weekend. So I was very social, and I forgot that I did any of those things. All except for my son. I forgot all those things. Yeah. So she did bring up a very good point. There was a lot of socializing this week that I totally forgot about. Thank you, Phoebe. Sorry, Max, please go ahead. I like shitting on I like jokingly shitting on Phoebe, but when she's got accurate points, I will correct it. So yes, Angerfoot, will you check it out?
Yeah, I'll get to it eventually. It was more of I wrapped Death Stranding 2 Sunday morning, and then dove straight into Baldur's Gate 3. So I just haven't.
So yeah, you're not going to really mess with anything else.
At the moment, probably not. Although I do have, so, because it's school holidays, my lovely wife has gone, I don't have time off work, so you can have the weekends. You do whatever you want on the weekends. I'll take the kids. We'll go out. We'll do fun stuff. They're gonna go to the zoo next weekend, so they're like, you just do whatever. So I've got 2 weekends of just like hardcore gaming to do. So I'll probably get to it. But yeah, right now I have not touched it yet.
Yeah,
it is installed, ready to go.
But yeah, I can assure you it is a bit of fun.
If I pick up if I pick up Tony Hawk's Pro Skater this weekend, I just fucking own that.
Yeah. Look, I said it's one of those things where I'm the impulsiveness in me wants to go buy Tony Hawk's 3 4 like now, or when it comes out. I'm not buying a pre-release. I'm not buying the early access. Get fucked. Like it's out Friday. But even then, like I've got Angerfoot. I've got Death Stranding 2, and I also have another game that randomly popped up in my orbit inbox. Or yeah, that's good. What I wanted. So through Keymailer, there's a game called Farmer's Life. Surprise! Why I picked it, Max? Bam. So this game comes from the team over at Playway SA. Now, I have messed with some of their games in the past. I have a quick look at seeing which ones I fucked with. Chocolate Factory Simulators from them, which I had a blast, and also my son really enjoys playing. They themselves are a studio that is... Oh, and Cinemaster, the cinema simulator game that I played, that was really awesome. That was part of them as well. So I have spent some time with this. I also do the Thief Simulator games, which is also awesome. I want to play the shit out of that. So the reason I jumped on this is because it's a sim game. I love sim games. It's a farming game. I love farming games. And this really looks like, and it plays like exactly what I expected, which is a AA janky as all fuck sim game. That is why I selected it. That is why I'm playing it. And that is also why I'm enjoying it. There is something about the absolute jankiness of a sim game that makes me really, really happy. It's why I love playing Gas Station Simulator, because it's janky as fuck. Or they're the things that intrigue me, that entice me about these games. So the way it works, it's set in like the 50s. You're in what seems like some sort of Russian or Eastern European countryside. You're a kind of a piece of shit. You are just a big old drunk. The start of the game. It looks like it feels like you've sort of inherited this farm, or it's a farm that you've had access to for a little while. And almost like due to the world as it is, you are responding accordingly. So the first couple missions in the game are just like scrounging things up on the farm. You plow a field. You literally go and sell like a hammer and a saw to buy booze, and then you drink the booze and pass out. The barn catches on fire, and you've got to rebuild the barn. The mission that I'm up to, which is in the early days, now granted, because the game is jank, it's actually crashed a couple times, but once again, no complaints. I know what I'm getting into, and I'm super happy about it. But at the moment, like in the next mission, quote unquote, the next task is after the barn burnt down, I've repaired it, I drank, I passed out, I woke up in the backfield behind my house, come back to the house, and there's a letter in a bottle on my front porch, and essentially it's telling me to go clean. Like I've gone and got shit faced at the grave of my parents, and I've left all my shit there. So at the moment, I'm now trying to go fucking find where that is. Because for whatever reason, there's no quest marker. There's nothing that says, hey, this is where this place is. So I just got to kind of wander around the countryside till I find the place. There's a picture that comes with the note that shows you where it is. I wandered down to the church thinking that, there's a little cemetery off to the side. It's not there apparently. So it's somewhere. and I don't know where it is. And then the game crashed again. So I was like, I'll come back to it later. But when, like I said, I say it's jank because I'm just being completely honest. Like, if you buy this game expecting it to be a flawless like farming sim experience, you ain't getting that. Like, if you look down at the ground and walk, it screen tears like crazy. Like, it's rough. Looking up, it's kind of fine. It controls a little shit house, but once again, it is exactly what I wanted. I'm enjoying it thoroughly, and there's little moments where I do go in and mess with it. I'm having a blast. But I imagine that if you don't have the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the patience for a game like that, or even for spaces like this, then you're not going to get a kick out of it. I'll have more to say over the coming week as we head into next week. Just because I've only really touched it for like an hour. I haven't even put like seeds to soil yet. Because fucked if I know where this grave site is that I have to go clean up with all my booze. But I have a giant pig. Her name's Fluffy. She tells me where to go most of the time, which is nice. She's not telling me where my fucking gravesite is though. But it's a good jank game. I love a jank game. Because like it's after playing a game like Death Stranding 2, which is so immaculately constructed, it is also then nice to experience a game that's a little bit shit. But anyways, that's not about what we've been playing. Let's get into the section we call Inform the Players. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation. Max, kicking things off. Interesting random piece of news. Unexpected, to say the least.
Sony is bringing Helldivers 2 to Xbox consoles. Roughly 18 months after its release, in a move that signals another unexpected strategy shift in an industry that never stands still, it's not the first PlayStation game to launch on Microsoft's machines, as MLB The Show ripped that band-aid off earlier in the generation. But as confirmed by ex-PlayStation Studios boss Shuhei Yoshida in a recent interview, this move was enforced by the League, and PlayStation doesn't even publish the game on other platforms. With Arrowhead's uber-popular co-op shooter, though, PlayStation Publishing is overseeing the release, with trusted Dutch porthouse Nixes handling the conversion, finally doing some work. Skeptics of Sony's strategy often point to the fact that there are only a handful of true console-exclusive games, with practically the entirety of the console's library also available on PC or other platforms. Of course, as a live service game with 50% of its revenue coming from microtransactions, you can rest assured that the bean counters over at PlayStation have done the math on this one. How big is the addressable audience for Helldivers 2, especially with the title launching outside of Games Pass, though? PlayStation Studios chief Herman Hulse recently said that Sony needs to be, quote, really thoughtful about bringing our franchises off console to reach new audiences, end quote, and implied that its strategy of timed console exclusivity for tentpole single-player titles is set in stone. Nothing about this Helldivers 2 announcement signals a change in that tactic. The game's almost 18 months old. It is sold out on what PlayStation and PC can handle. Why not open it up? It is a live service game. It will benefit from the extra player count. Make more money. Why not?
Yeah. And look, it does align with the strategy. Now, granted, we talked about it last week, where the idea is that 12 to 18 months later, like that's that sweet spot for bringing their games to commonly to PC. But I guess in this circumstance, it's taken to Xbox.
Personally, I think 18 months is too long for a live service game.
Oh, absolutely.
For a single player game, sure. But like, after 18 months, some live service games are dead, and the extra boost in player count from opening it up to another platform may not be enough to resurrect it.
But at the same time, like as far as I'm aware, and I don't see PlayStation doing this, it's not going to go to Game Pass. Like they're just, and this, although this is a games as a service title in a lot of ways, it is kind of not, right? In that it is what kind of like a more premium sort
No,
of.
I would call it
No, no,
100% games as a service.
yes, but I mean, like the way I see a games as a service is either free or a really low barrier of entry for price. Then it's bolstered by microtransactions. This Helldivers 2 is less than full price, but not by much, like $10-$20 from memory.
I would disagree because I would argue that one of the biggest games as a service games is Destiny, and Destiny's a full price game every year.
That's actually a very good point. You know what? I will retract my stance. I think you are correct. Something like Destiny 2.
Although in saying that, a lot of Destiny 2 is now free.
That is also true. But it is interesting that Helldivers 2 is at a point where a good hunk of their return is in microtransactions now. It's not like probably likely why this decision was made, simply because no one's buying the game. It's being supported by the current player base. Why not? And even if no one does it, okay. But if some do, that's still kind of free money. Like I was listening to Sacred Symbols Plus this week, and Colin Moriarty was having a chat with an individual from an analytics company, right? So that's their entire thing is dealing with game sales data. And they were discussing some of the amount of money that PlayStation have made simply from porting their games to PC. So something like Horizon Zero Dawn, I think, made $160 million or something just from selling to PC. Now, I think it was like 2 million people bought the game on PC. However, I'm very aware that they're not going to move 2 million units on Xbox. But if they can make some money out of it, and those that do pick it up do buy the micros, there's potentially some money in there. What I find really interesting, though, and I believe it's absolutely pure coincidence, is that the date this is coming is the exact same day the Gears of War Reloaded comes to PlayStation. So an Xbox game pops up on PlayStation on the same day that a PlayStation game pops up on Xbox. And that does feel like beautiful serendipity. It really does. But yeah, I don't see this drastically impacting the sales of Helldivers or really having a footing on Xbox. Because in that same conversation, do we have any other sort of Xbox or Game Passy sort of stuff? No, we don't.
I've got that page open. I couldn't bother typing it out.
Yeah,
there was a lot.
Yes.
I've got the page open if you want to talk about the layoffs and the closures and the cancellations.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's touch upon it in a surface level, Max, and then we'll bring it together. Because you have it in front of you. Yeah, just jump into it now.
Yeah. So earlier this week, what was it? About 9,100 staff members across Xbox Studios were laid off.
Across Microsoft at large as well. Yeah. It's like 4% of their total. 9%? 9%. No, 4%.
Yeah, so the initiative, the team behind Perfect Dark, gone. Perfect Dark cancelled. Around 50% of Turn 10 Studios is gone, and they're moving everyone that was on Forza Motorsport onto Horizon. So now Gran Turismo is just the only one there now. Also,
I found out today in that same podcast,
the Drift King,
Forza Horizon, the one that they launched just now, was a 4-year-old game, has sold equivalent numbers to Astrobot. Like 2-point-something million units. And 1 million of them were pre-orders.
Yeah.
That's fucked. Like, that's insane. That's so much. I don't think people gave a shit about that much about Horizon, but I guess, Forza Horizon, I should say, but I guess if their idea is to put it everywhere, why make Motorsport when you got GT?
Yeah. Call of Duty teams, Raven Software and Sledgehammer both got hit. ZeniMax Online Studios got hit and their MMO got cancelled. Rare got hit and their game Everwild got canned.
Yep.
And there was a bunch of other stuff. And then Big Boy Spencer came out with this statement, quote, "I recognize that these changes come at a time when we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. Our platform, hardware, and game roadmap have never looked stronger. The success we're seeing currently is based on tough decisions we've made previously. We must make choices now for continued success in the future years, and a key part of that strategy is the discipline to prioritize the strongest opportunities. We will protect what is thriving and concentrate effort on areas with the greatest potential while delivering on the expectations of company has for our business. This focused approach means we can deliver exceptional games and experiences for players for generations to come. Prioritizing our opportunities is essential, but that does not lessen the significance of this moment. Simply put, we would not be where we are today without the time, energy, and creativity of those whose roles are impacted. These decisions are not a reflection of the talent, creativity, and dedication of the people involved. Our momentum is not accidental. It is the result of years of dedicated effort from our teams.
No, because I'm always the more opinionated of the two of us. What's your thoughts on all this, Max? And then I'll jump in.
It's one of those things of like, you know, we have seen Perfect Dark for the last, I want to say, like 3 to 4 years. It was at the Game Awards.
We've seen it once. We're aware of it.
It's been multiple
There's
trailers, hasn't it?
Yeah, one trailer, one gameplay from memory.
And we got actual gameplay from, allegedly. I think it was last year at the Game Awards, yeah. And then they're like, it's gone.
Yeah.
We've got, I think it was Spencer who came out and went, I adored the ZeniMax Online Studios MMORPG. Gone.
He literally went to the rare the other month. Was like, man, Everwild's looking sick. Cancelled.
Yeah. It sucks. It always sucks when people lose their jobs. It always sucks when the leader of that team comes out and says, people are playing games more than ever. Got to cut some jobs. It sucks. It's happening everywhere except Nintendo, apparently.
Well, a lot of the first party studios within Nintendo are based in Japan, and Japan has a very different work culture than the Western world. Like you are kind of grandfathered into a role. Like if you have a role, like you could be there and forever if you wanted to, and it's all part of their weird, like interesting culture, which is cool.
So it does suck to see all those things disappear. You know, the selfish part of me is like, thank God it wasn't Fable. But it is always hard to see that many studios go, and for them to be shut down entirely in the case of the Initiative, which was built just to do Perfect Dark from memory.
Yep. Quadruple A game.
Yeah. Like that extra A will get you every time. Just ask Ubisoft and fucking Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so shitty. And you know, it was, you know, we saw this and we all spoke about it when they did the layoffs. What was it? The back end of last year, after they you know, they bought out their billions of dollar deal, and they're like, we got to make that money back somehow. And it, you know, between whatever they're spending on Games Pass and whatever they're not bringing in from it, versus, you know, having to balance the books. Unfortunately, it's people that, you know, take the brunt of that damage.
Yeah, it's a really interesting, like, for lack of a better term, like, space to look at, right? As you mentioned, like with the acquisition of ABK, you know, Activision Blizzard King, for $67 billion, you knew that there were going to have to be cuts, as there was going to be, you know, crossover. I think it was closer to 68 billion. But there was going to be a lot of duplicate roles, which would have an impact. So, we knew those layoffs were going to be previously. However, these layoffs have nothing to do with that outside of we spent too much money and we need to recoup it. Especially, like, what I find most interesting is this really demonstrates that the likes of Phil Spencer have no control anymore. Like, we'd already communicated in the past that, that they're kind of face figureheads at best, where all decisions are now in the hands of Microsoft at large. But, you know, up until the acquisition of ABK, they were kind of left to their own devices. However, that being one of the biggest acquisitions literally ever, not just in games, really brought the Eye of Sauron onto Xbox and Phil Spencer. So now they're going to have to recoup. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there a moment ago, Max.
So I'm just going to add to this. So, ex-Arcane Studios founder Rafael Colantino posted on socials, why is no one talking about the elephant in the room, cough, cough, Games Pass? Yep. When asked to expand on his thoughts, quote, I think Games Pass is an unsustainable model that has been increasingly damaging the industry for a decade. Subsidized by Microsoft's, quote, infinite money, but at some point reality has to hit. I don't think Game Pass can coexist with other models. They'll either kill everyone else or just give up. Responding to this, Larian's Michael Dowse argued, quote, the infinite money thing never made any sense. Mm-hmm. I agree, and I'm fed up with all the bullshit they fed us at first. Like, don't worry, it doesn't impact the sales, only to admit years later that it totally does. No shit.
Look, granted, now we're not the first people to ever say this, and we are not the only people to ever say this, but we have talked for a long time on this show about the financial ramifications of something like Game Pass and its ability to straight up chew up the market. And we're now seeing that impact, right? Especially when Microsoft, they're entirely reliant on Game Pass collectively. Like, that is their source of revenue at the moment. They have stagnated in their numbers. They were 34 million a couple of years ago, and now they're 35, according to someone's LinkedIn profile. And I say someone, like it's actually someone of note. They'd worked in that space before. And that Game Pass service can only be bolstered by games. It's what it's there for, right? And especially those first-party exclusive titles, whether it be Perfect Dark or this MMO or whichever, right? If you can get an MMO in a Game Pass, you're pretty much guaranteed people to be on that for a long-ass time. They're going to be funneling money into Game Pass.
I was saying it since they first announced the ABK merger. I'm like, if they put World of Warcraft on Games Pass, I'll be on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Instead, making the choice to then reduce the amount of in-house games that are on this service because it's not financially viable. But once again, if we have had Phil Spencer and various members of the Microsoft exec team, of the Xbox exec team, you know, granted, the team have been known to speak out both out of both sides of their mouth before, to come and go, oh, these games are going to be awesome. These look really cool. And to then not have anything come out for them is insane. This shows you the dangerous impact that Game Pass has had. They've gutted the industry. They are now gutting staff. Now, granted, there was a lot of bloat, quote unquote, in the industry from, you know, the boost of COVID. However, I feel I don't have the numbers in front of me because I'm not that guy, but it does feel like there are less people in the industry now than prior to the COVID bubble. Like that, they've not just, you know, flushed these new additional hires. It feels like they're now clearing old guard too. But in the podcast I listened to today, and we've mentioned this in our group chat. I'd like to hear a bit more of your thoughts. During the conversation with Colin and this individual, they discussed how Xbox are almost finding a way to offload their customer base. So what this means is, and now that I've seen it and I've seen the breadcrumbs, I can't unsee it. So Microsoft are actively putting Xbox titles everywhere they can, with the idea that one day they will completely pull out and those games are still available somewhere else. So if they were to go, hey, Game Pass isn't here anymore, all our games, we are now entirely a third-party publisher, they are available everywhere, whether it be through Steam or the Microsoft Store. Like, we've linked up our purchases, you don't lose everything you have. Like, if you have, you know, backwards compatible games, they are available over here in theory. Like, this hasn't happened yet, but in this kind of space. And with the whole idea that they are actively incentivizing their customer base to go elsewhere because they are going to fold. Now, whether that be in a year or 2 years or 5 years, I hadn't thought about it that way because it goes against everything I understand the games industry to be. Because I am so used to there being two companies battling it out, and which, you know, that is good. Like, that is competition. That is what the industry should be. But Microsoft and Xbox fucked up so hard with the Xbox One. They then went into Game Pass thinking it was going to be the savior, which in a lot of ways it did. It helped, it bolstered them. It kept them going for a little while longer, because had they not done that, Xbox would have died years ago. But it feels like they're delaying the inevitable. Now, Max, what's your thoughts on a view like that if Microsoft is large? Because, as I said, now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it.
I don't think they are setting themselves up where they're like, hey, our stuff's available elsewhere. If you've had it over here, you can get it over there type thing. You'll have to repurchase it. There is no way they're giving you
maybe within Microsoft, the PC Microsoft space, I guess. That's even then.
If they're not giving you a Steam key because you bought it over here first, and then that's now
no, that's what I'm saying. Not on Steam, but on the Microsoft store.
Happening, and like I bought up the. They need to open it up, because who is going to buy their game at full price when they can play it on their ecosystem for nothing?
Mm-hmm.
And it's as simple as that.
Well, even you looked at it today, like on the Microsoft store.
Currently on the Microsoft store, Avowed, $119. Steam, $80.
Yep.
Why wouldn't we go buy it at Steam? $40 cheaper. And then, you know, PC players notorious for not wanting more and extra fucking launches on their systems.
Fun fact, I found this out today. This podcast, for someone that's fucking nerdy about games numbers and games, the games industry at large, more people bought Claire Obscur on Steam than played it on PC Game Pass. Because PC players like, no, I'm not playing. No, I'd rather just buy it. I'll buy it on Steam.
Look at all the people who were like, I'm not playing fucking Helldivers because I have to have a Sony account.
Yep.
You think
PC gamers are stubborn, man.
I have okay.
But saying that though, I refuse to use anything outside of Steam, so I'm part of the problem.
You know Noodle, right?
Yeah.
So I messaged him and I'm like, hey man, I want a platinum split fiction. Will you play it with me? He's like, how much is it going to cost me? I'm like, nothing. I'll send you my friend pass. He won't play it because he has to sign up and make an EA account. He's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not making another account for some other bullshit.
Yeah, but like I enjoy Noodle. He's a good person, but he is also belligerent, and gets real strong stances on shit that he shouldn't have.
And like I'm the same. I hate having extra launches. The only reason why I've got a few of the extra launches is because I get free games on a weekly basis.
But once again, even for me, like Epic Games gives me free games. I literally have uninstalled it. I installed it to be like, oh, I'll fuck around with Fortnite for a minute just to, you know, dip my toe in again. Played it for like 3 rounds and went, yeah, fuck it. Deleted Epic Games Store. Like, even free games doesn't entice me, Max. And I'm not even a hardcore PC player. So it's interesting, like to look at it this way. Now, granted, we have hitched our content on clearly the winner, it seems, which is also really boring because it's the fun part of this show is discussing the world of gaming through the lens of PlayStation. And when the lenses we're at the top of the hill and everyone else is down the hill and Nintendo are off their own hill over there, it's less interesting. It really is.
I mean, at the end of the day, currently Microsoft is the best-selling publisher on PlayStation devices.
Yeah, like a stack in the top 20 best-selling games on PlayStation. Quite a number of them are Xbox titles. That's fucked up, but also shows that there's a hunger for it off that console.
It's almost like gamers just like playing fucking games where they want to play,
and they're willing to pay outside of Xbox. PC gamers, they're like, nah, I'd rather pay for it. PlayStation players, yeah, I'd rather pay for it. Nintendo, I don't really have a choice. I have to pay extra for no reason.
That's the thing, like, before this ABK merger, I had both consoles. And if I was buying a third-party game, I was buying it on the console that I prefer to play on. Mm-hmm. Regardless of if it was cheaper over there or cheaper over here, I would spend the money on the console of my preferred console. very rarely gonna be like, "Oh, man, it's like $30 cheaper over on Xbox. I'll just play it there." But no, I'm gonna play it where I'm gonna play it because I'm gonna enjoy it more over here.
Plus, I want trophies, you know?
No, I don't give a fuck about trophies most of the time.
Yeah, but look, I don't. I say that I do, and the second that I have to put any extra effort in, I'd give up.
I've like accidentally fucking platinum so many games. I'm like, oh, I didn't have to play through this 3 times. Winner.
You know, Platinum Death Stranding?
I've looked at it. It's a bit of a grind.
Is it? Yeah, okay. Because the first one was a bit rough too.
You got to 5-star every single thing.
Man, I'm already on my way.
You got to get X amount of likes, and you got to do this, and you got to do that, and it's just.
In the chat, Big Shep jumps in and says, "Bro, Game Pass was peak damage control for how badly they fucked up the marketing for Xbox One." Absolutely, and it's a shame. And like, yes, look, we've long discussed how it is of value, especially financial value to the player. But when this is the outcome, and that there are active conversations within development teams of like, do we even publish on Xbox anymore? It's a shame. Like, we are seeing firsthand essentially the death of Sega. Remember the Dreamcast and the Saturn and like the downfall of Sega.
Hang on.
I wasn't there.
Sega killed themselves with the Dreamcast. They released a fucking console that could play burnt games out of the box.
As if Xbox aren't killing themselves as well.
That's on them.
It's on Sega. It's on Xbox. They are both built on bad decisions, which is a fucking shame. Because I would have liked them to get monstered, but not all. Like, it's weird. Like, I don't have tribalistic tendencies between Microsoft and PlayStation. I just pick the platform that I like to play the most, and it's what's connected to me in my journey within the gaming space. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Look, sometimes you just have to know when to step away. And that brings us to our next story. The original story, so Naughty Dog studio head Neil Druckmann has revealed that he is stepping away from the production of The Last of Us TV series on HBO so he can, quote, put his complete focus, end quote, on game development. With the production of Season 2 complete and, quote, no meaningful work, end quote, done on the 3rd season as of yet, Druckmann views this as the, quote, right time for me to transition my complete focus to Naughty Dog and its future projects, end quote. This will include writing and directing the upcoming PS5 title Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, and he's also serving in a producer role on a second project that is currently unannounced, and we have reason to believe that is the Uncharted reboot or the Uncharted sequel that is being made by Shadow Studio over at Sony Santa Monica, I believe. It's all speculative. In the social media statement, Druckmann said working on the TV series was, quote, a career highlight, end quote, and an honor to work alongside Craig Mazin. He then adds, quote, I'm deeply thankful for the thoughtful approach and dedication the talented cast and crew took to adapting The Last of Us Part 1 and the continued adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2, he concluded. Neil Druckmann directed an episode in each of the 2 seasons of HBO's The Last of Us TV adaptation, Infected in the 1st season, and then The Price in the 2nd. He also served as co-creator role throughout the entire production of the 2 seasons. Now, neither you or I have seen Season 2 yet, mostly because apparently it's not that good, which is a real damn shame. But also, I'm lacking the compulsion, right, to go and do it, just sit there and do it. I'll find some time eventually, but I'm weirdly in no rush, which is bizarre. I understand that Neil Druckmann has always had an ambition, you can tell, to want to get into, a different media, different spaces. But yeah, he should be at Naughty Dog, and that is where he is. Like, it's well and good, but even if you look at the credits of this season, now, I believe Craig Mazin has had like the writing credits on most of them bar one, which is the Price. So like even then, Neil's kind of pulled back already, it seems. Which makes sense. Intergalactic is the next focus.
The cynic in me is like, they've wrapped Season 2, so he's just like, all my focus is on this because we're not doing Season 3 yet. But when Season 3 starts, I may shift my focus back over here.
I would imagine depending on where they're at in...
Like, I think it's just one of those things of like, he's like, nothing important's going on now, so I'm going to go focus all of my attention on this.
Mm.
And then when something pops up over there, I may mosey on back. The other part of me is like, this season didn't review well, and he's like, fucking Not my fault.
I had nothing to do with it. I only made the game that everyone hated. Whee! The TV show that everyone hated, that's somebody else's problem. But yeah, no, it's absolutely where it should be. Like it's cool that like that The Last of Us has kind of been the front runner in this cross media or transmedia, what they've called it.
I was gonna say, on the other hand, I don't think if Heretic the Heretic Prophet comes out, they're gonna be like, oh, this was shit, and it's all because fucking Dr. Uckman was spending too much time on the Last of Us TV series. Like, I don't think that's gonna happen either.
No, not at all.
So,
but look, granted, Max, it's with season 3 of The Last of Us hasn't happened yet. It seems like it's too far in the future. But there is something else that seems unreasonably. It feels like it should be far in the future, but it's weirdly right around the corner. Are you fucking looking at Facebook messages again?
Sorry, I saw Joel's message for Padge. He's like, Padge, sit down, you're gonna love this. And it's just a post from, according to Nate the Hate, the rumored Final Fantasy IX remake could be cancelled.
Well, look, that was something that we felt was also really right around the corner, but turns out it's even further away.
In favor for Final Fantasy VIII remake.
I'd play that actually. I quite enjoyed it.
The far superior Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, that's the one I remember. I bought the PlayStation magazine, like when the demo disc had the big dude with the fucking gun sword on the front.
Can't wait for Paul to have a bitch at me in about a week's time when he finally gets around to listening to this.
Oh, he's on school holidays as well now. He's got nothing but time, I'm sure. But yes.
Teacher.
But look, once again, speaking of time, third goal at the segue, PS6, Max.
Oh, yeah. So, Sony is working closely with AMD on the PlayStation 6, and specifically on a technology currently codenamed Project Amethyst. This is a true collaboration between the two companies, which has already borne fruit. The FSR4 upscaling tech in the latest line of Radeon graphics cards was created in collaboration with PlayStation. Next year, that same technology will finally be rolled out on the PlayStation 5 Pro, promising significant upgrades for everyone who purchased the supercharged system, in my opinion, too early. But the most remarkable thing here is that none of this progress is proprietary. According to PlayStation architect Mark Cerny, this is all about pushing the industry forward. He told Tom's Guide, quote, "This is not for proprietary technology. This is really trying to move the industry forward. Obviously, we want to use these technologies on our consoles, but these technologies are available to any of AMD's customers freely. The specific technology that's been touted as part of this boils down to AI-based upscaling, similar to the PSSR on the PS5 Pro currently. For those who don't know, these tools are able to take a lower resolution image and reconstruct it in 4K with very little compromise. This means, in essence, developers can spend more computational resources on frame rate and other visual bells and whistles, as rendering a native 4K image is very expensive."
Oh, yeah, and expensive in processing power is what they get, and obviously fiscally as well. I'm not ready for a PS6 Max. Like, I'm still keen to buy a PS5 Pro.
I'm still not keen to buy a PS5 Pro, and I don't think the PS6 is coming anytime soon.
Like, I reckon 2028, 7. I reckon we hear about it in 7, come out in 28.
And like currently, like if they announced it that it was coming out like next year, I'd be like, I'm not buying one at launch.
Like, I would for the content, but
I would want to for the content, but my wallet would be like, "Wait, fuck off, dickhead." You're
yeah, because you know that prick is going to be expensive, and I want to mess with a PS5 Pro because I am genuinely intrigued on how on PSSR in action. Now, a lot of it happens in the background. It's it's AI upscaling. It's allowing for smoother, better images, etc., etc. But because of the way it's built, anytime they update the console, they can then add updates to better support PSSR, which in turn will make your games run better. So rather than here is your hardware sucked in, like they actually have the ability to essentially better create opportunities for it to perform better with the same hardware. In the chat, Mute jumps in and goes, "You guys can timeshare a PS6." Well, we already timeshare a fucking PSVR 2 that never really seems to leave my house or get used. So
and then when it does, it just sits in the box on my desk.
Yeah, I think my kid has played the PSVR 2 more than we have. But yeah, I'm not absolutely in any way ready for a PS6. I think it's the fact that the companies, developers, are still releasing PS4 titles.
Look, my PlayStation 5 box says 8K on it, and until it reaches that, there shouldn't be a PS6.
Granted, that 8K was removed off every other fucking box
I
after
don't care. It's on mine.
So on top of that, Fire Sprite, a job ad went up recently that mentioned they were looking for a particular individual to work on quote unquote next gen consoles. Now, I don't know whether that links to PS6.
Well, jokes, it's their handheld.
It could be that, but at the same time, like the vernacular around the generations has been so weird that because games are still coming to PS4, like some people refer to it as last gen, some people refer to this, PS5 as next gen. So it's kind of in this weird space. I presume internally, PlayStation referred to PS5 as current gen and PS4 as last gen. So next gen has to be PS6. But I don't know. I don't like that there are two generations running at the same time.
Grammatically, it's the only way that makes sense. PS5.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you. But remember, like PS5 came out, and then for like 2 years at least, everyone was still referred to it as next gen.
People are dumb.
Yeah, that's fucking true. They most certainly are.
But
look, who knows? Who knows what the fuck's going to happen? I don't. I'm going to buy a PS6? Yeah, probably. Because I'm a fucking dickhead. Now, Max, you need to be out of here by like 9 o'clock this evening. We're already hit 8:30.
We are literally, the next one's QUICKBITS.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, hence I'm going to jump into them QUICKBITties, man, because we can get this bad boy out. I could sit here and talk about nonsense all day. But instead, it is time for the QUICKBITties. BioWare flop Anthem dies in January 2026 as servers will be turned off.
Yeah, on the 12th of January, they are turning the servers off. And I played that game as recently as literally yesterday.
Because of this news?
No. I've been playing it on and off for the last 2 months. It's fun. The game's good.
Well, now it is, yeah.
I mean, nothing's changed. To be fair,
it did get some support afterwards, but even then, that wasn't its biggest issue.
It had such potential. It had such potential.
Apparently, it's like the best like Iron Man sort of role play experience.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre, seeing as Camouflage made that PSVR Iron Man game, which made me want to vomit mostly. Stop Killing Games campaign, which was built to stop publishers from turning access off games to their titles, has hit over 1 million signatures. Now, Max, I think have you been following this?
Yeah, I think they needed to hit 1 million signatures for it to like go anywhere.
So what's the dealio?
This is based in the EU. Let me pull up the...
So my understanding is that it's essentially a fancy class action, or the beginnings of a fancy class action, with the idea that a bunch of, it's a bunch of people that have come together to say, hey, with games like Anthem, I think The Crew 2 was the motivator for this campaign, was that, studios, Ubisoft in this case, were like, yeah, we're killing Crew 2. Everyone's like, yo, there's single player shit in this game that we now can't play if you decide to pull it. And then eventually, due to peer pressure,
essentially, it's like, hey, we have purchased this game. You can't take away our property without.
But then again, this is the problem under the wording of owning the license. You never actually own the game. And
Stop Killing Games as a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. An increasing number of video games are sold effectively as goods with no stated expiration date, but designed to be completely unplayable as soon as support from the publisher ends. This practice is a form of planned
obsolescence.
Obsolescence, yeah, I'm looking at it and the words are just moving. And it's not detrimental to customers, but makes preservation effectively impossible. Furthermore, the legality of this practice is largely untested in many countries. Over the past year, we have successfully escalated complaints on this problem to consumer agencies in France, Germany, and Australia, and have brought forth petitions for new law on this problem to various countries. As of 2025, most consumer action on this matter has concluded, and we are awaiting decisions on it from several governments. However, there are a few remaining avenues left where people can participate if they are eligible. So the European Citizens Initiative, this is the most powerful option currently at their disposal, but it requires a massive number of signatures from citizens of EU countries in order to pass. If we can pass the signature threshold, there is a very strong chance that the European Commission will pass new law that will both protect consumer rights to retain video games that customers have purchased and advance preservation efforts massively. UK citizens and residents can sign a petition where if it passes 100,000 signatures, new law will be considered to be brought before Parliament. They are currently sitting at just over 1 million signatures.
Damn.
And there was also... if you are French and owned a copy of the game The Crew in any capacity, you could join another set of complaints over there. Unfortunately, those options do exclude citizens not of those countries. So hopefully by it kicking up a big shitstorm over in the EU, it will pass. It'll raise the issue, will make the issue more prevalent in other regions and other countries, and hopefully we can kind of all band together and be like, "Oi, don't take our shit."
Yeah. Look, I get where they're coming from, and now, granted, it doesn't really impact me because I don't go back to old games very often, if at all. So it's not really for me, but I agree with it from as a moral standpoint.
Imagine if Take-Two come out and they're like, hey, because we're launching GTA 6, we're just turning off the GTA Online 5 servers and you just don't have anything anymore. Sorry.
Okay.
Can you imagine the fucking shitstorm that would hit?
But, like, I guess at the same time, like, what's the threshold of this, right? Like, is it games that have a single-player support in some way? Like, if a game is entirely online, does it then have to be, like, legacied in? Does it have to then have a patch that allows it playable offline? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
or if it's a game that has like a single player, like Anthem as an example, could they? Yeah. Could they put a patch into Anthem that allows you to play it still offline? Can't see why not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my space. Anyway, interesting. Would you sign it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
if I was eligible, I would.
Yeah, I'd sign it. Just be like, yeah, I agree in principle, but doesn't really affect me. And finally,
Australian consumer law kind of does fuck for like the companies and like they're pretty good at looking after
Steam and the ACCC fight each other all the time. It's awesome. And finally, in the quick bits, smartphone spin-off Destiny Rising. Wait, is that Destiny as in Destiny?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
They're making a fucking mobile game.
Oh, that's dangerous for you. Hits 5 million pre-registrations. Are you one of them?
No.
Why not?
Game can get fucked.
Are you done with Destiny? Or are you done on phones?
No. I'm super keen for Destiny. The new Destiny DLC comes out in a fucking week. I'm super keen.
I got to talk to those people.
But I don't play games like that on my phone.
It's interesting. Like
my phone is for Hearthstone only.
And Pokemon trading card game.
Hearthstone, Pokemon trading card game. Actually, it's just trading card games. I'll play Magic the Gathering Arena. I'll play Hearthstone. I'll play Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Crazy.
Like the Spire.
Mine is just merge games and Water Sort.
Oh, merge games can fuck right off.
I have a couple. Was it Merge Mare? Ooh, I fucking have all the time in the world for Merge Mare.
Like Google suckered me in. I've got that Google Play Pass because they're like, you want 6 months free? I'm like, I'll take 6 months free, and then instantly cancel my subscription. And they're like, hey, you can play Final Fantasy VII on your phone. I'm like, no, I can't. Not happening.
So, like, my son, you know, being the age that he is, he's 8. He has an iPad for school, but he also plays games there. He's playing Roblox on it the other day. He's playing this game called Rivals. It's kind of like a one-on-one, 2v2 sort of fun little first-person shootery game in Roblox.
You've let him on the Roblox?
Oh, I didn't. His mum made the call, not me.
It's a bold strategy.
Hey, man, I'm like, he goes, oh, can I play it on your PlayStation? I'm like, no. You can play it on your iPad. But if you want to, we have access to a fuckload of better games. If you want to play anything on the with my PlayStation, there's a bunch of games you can play. but I don't want it on there. I don't want my trophies connected to it. I don't want any record that I own it. But he plays a lot with his mates, and that I get. Like, you know, it's the same. His age, like at his age, we didn't have access to online games, but if we did, I can assure you that we would have played a fuckload of games with our mates. But like, he's playing this first-person game on his iPad with touchscreen controls, and he's efficient at it, but it makes me want to die. He's like, "Hey, do you want to play it, Dad?" I'm like, "No." Like, not because I have an issue with the game, it's because I physically could not play 2 thumbsticks on a screen.
Why don't you fucking link a PlayStation controller to it for him? Then you can just play with the controller.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They Bluetooth super easy.
Yeah.
Like I let.
No, but
I'm
commenting his ability to play on the screen is insane. And similar to you, I'm like, this is not what tablets are built for.
I let Hadley play Astrobot on the iPad.
Oh yeah, with remote play, that's different. Like yeah.
But like sync the controller to that bad boy.
As I said, there are a stack of other games that he could be playing that are possibly, if not very likely, better. And here's a list of the games that are coming out this week.
All right, on the 8th of July, we have Missile Command Delta coming to PlayStation 5 and Somber Echoes coming to PlayStation 5.
I misread that as Sober Echoes. I'm like, that game sounds fun.
On the 10th of July, we have The Bad End Theater coming to PS5, PS4, Cats Away, PS5, EA Sports College Football 26, PS5. We have Islanders, New Shores, PS5, and we have System Shock 2, the 25th anniversary remaster. So even that game got one. Final Fantasy 9 didn't, but this game got one.
Suck, dude.
And on the 11th of July, we have Bendy and the Dark Revival.
Oh, Cats Away I thought was going to be cool. It's just this weeby ass fuck game. Gross.
We have Patapon 1 and 2 replay coming to PlayStation 5. And we have
I like Patapon. I love Patapon.
The big one, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 coming to PS5.
Yeah, but
PS4.
Patapon.
Fuck Patapon.
Yeah, Tony Hawk's is the answer. Absolutely. Just listen to CKY, Alien Ant Farm. Gimme. Let's fucking go.
I keep seeing ads for it everywhere, and I'm just like, oh yeah.
Yeah, because every ad is like, and I get all excited. I get all fluffy. Yeah. So this week, Max, you may have seen it across the socials if you give a shit.
Okay, so it came out in October of 2001. So 11-year-old me. School holidays, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
I remember getting it from Network Video in Terrelgan, and I burnt the living shit out of that game, and I played 3 and 4 endlessly.
35-year-old Max is still super excited for it.
And like my son's into skateboarding now as well, which is really, really fun. Thanks to Riders Republic. I shit on that game, but yeah, it got him into skateboarding. So with Tony Hawk's this week, like I have a feeling that we're probably gonna play it because I want Skate. I would much prefer to play Skate, but I'm happy to play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, 4 in the interim, because who knows when that's coming. But what was I going to? Fuck, I was going to mention something now. I forget what it was.
Played on Games Pass.
Ooh. I was going to talk about the video I did this week as the new commissioner for Malice Pro Wrestling, but I forget Malice Wrestling Federation. But I forget where I was going to. There was a reason I was going to touch upon it. Oh, that's right. Because as within my new role as the commissioner of the Malice Wrestling Federation, which is a really cool on-screen, on-camera talent. First time I've ever really done it. I had to pick an entrance song, Max. And my original consideration was CKY. I was like, is there a CKY song that I can fuck with? Because, love myself some CKY. Turns out not really. They're all kind of a bit slow. I wanted something really kind of fast and intense. And they weren't quite there. But
that's what she said.
There's a lot of good songs within the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater soundtrack. Like I did also consider Movies by Alien Ant Farm, which is not on there. I think Wish is on there, which is also a good tune. I was trying to find
Movies isn't that like fast and upbeat either though.
No, that's why I'm like because what I ended up settling on, I settled on Cochise, the first song off Audio Slave's first album, because I wanted to go like heavier and that nu metal space, but it felt too heel, like too bad guy, and my character is not a heel. I'm like, okay, cool. So why
didn't you pick that Sleep Token song from Death Stranding 2?
I haven't found it in the game yet, and Sleep Token I had considered too, but like it doesn't quite work with the character that they're wanting me to play. So I had to consider like, well, if I want guitar, I need some chugs. Hip hop doesn't land, so I end up just falling down like a divorced dad rock sort of space. So I ended up going with Audio Slave. You know, get a bit of Tom Morello guitar, Chris Cornell vocals, sick. So it's all fun and games. So that'll be an interesting thing I get to do in the future, which is exciting for me, maybe not so much for you. Hey, speaking of fun, Max, there is wrestling this Friday night, Zhong Ukrainian Hall. You want to come?
I'm actually busy on Friday night.
Oh, fuck, of course you are. You're like, why do I never invite you to the wrestling shows? And I'm like, hey, there's one this Friday. It's going to be fun. You know, it's Friday nights are good. You're like, oops.
I legitimately actually have plans this Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Says the guy who probably wouldn't come anyway if we didn't.
Yeah. So I'm doing the nice thing. I'm considerately going, would you like to come, Max?
I have legitimately have plans to stay at home and just furiously mess. But no.
Wait, you got a whole evening to do that? That's cool.
No, I'm having dinner with some friends. So what time does it start? Maybe I'll come afterwards.
Like 6:30, I think. 6:37, somewhere in there.
It's probably when I'm going to fucking eat dinner, knowing my luck.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyways, that does bring us to the end of the show. Big thank you everyone for joining us as always. We do have fun when we do this. It's episode 499. Wait, no, 399. Fuck, out an extra 100 out of nowhere. So that does mean next week will be our big 400. Are we doing anything? Absolutely not. Do I hope to have as much of Death Stranding 2 done as I can? Yes, please. I would absolutely love to do our big sort of review chat for Death Stranding 2 as episode 400. I have a lot of plans this week. I've got a magic show with Craig tomorrow for his birthday. Yep, that's exactly what I said. And then I have a show on Friday and Saturday, one in Geelong, one in Ballarat.
Well, what's he going to reveal to you?
No, he's not the magician. We're going to see a mate of ours who was a wrestler. He is a magician, and he's doing a part of a thing as part of a Magic Week. Apparently, there's literally a lot of magicians in the area. So they're doing this big kind of little mini festival thing. So we're going to go support our mate with his opening show tomorrow night. Yeah, it'd be fun. Magic's cool. I like Magic.
I like Magic too. It's currently really cheap at Costco in America. And makes me sad.
Not Magic the Gathering, Max.
Oh, well,
I'm not going to go watch some guy play Magic the Gathering. I'd rather punch myself in the dick. Unless it's the Spider-Man set, which looks fucking cool.
Yeah, that you want me to check out at PAX for you.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
because it'll be in the Perth. Apparently, there's possible free starter packs or whatever at PAX. So
you realize that if I go there and I get a free starter pack, you are not getting it.
You get 2 starter packs, mate.
It's no way.
Yeah, you go. Yeah, you go. You grab one. You come back with a fake mustache and a hat. And I thought
you'd be like, they come back the next day. I'm like, they're not going to be there the next day, and it's a bold strategy thinking I'm going to be there the next day.
That's a good point. So I haven't heard, granted, I've been very publicly on socials like, hey, not going to PAX, and tagging PAX like a moron. And I haven't heard anything about passes for yourself or anything yet. So I say that, I still haven't bought fucking tickets to Perth yet. This passes going to be so expensive. But anyways, it does bring us down to the show. Big thank you. Love you always. Max, you know what to do.
Alrighty, everybody. This PlayStation conversation happens every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTube.
So glad I muted the mic. I farted so good. That was like a comedic, volume fart. Did you hear it? Did it come through the Discord noise gate?
No, not at all. May as well not have muted yourself if you're just going to announce it anyway.
I did think it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a pretty dismal one, but that was quite impressive.
Quality content like this, check out our socials: Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and X. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens and hear the farts live,
if you too are blown away by this content.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens and hear the farts live, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturist. So where you can watch or record this show live. We can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are listening to us on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. Watch us on YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And that was for the players. 399, that's fucked. That's fucked.